The second live stream, we have like Ali, we have Zai, we have potential wandering dragon, and we have, I guess, me. Sort of. I'm
The
just in the
Zom
background.
Zom!
I'm not actually here. I'm somewhere
Are you
else.
sure?
I'm right
Are you
behind you.
sure?
Gonna hug me?
Possibly
If
Yay!
you're gonna be that close to Ali, you must expect hugs.
next
Hug.
week.
Hug.
Well, next week in 3 days. Anyway, if you have art, throw it at our faces, please. Questions, throw those to us. We're gonna start off with Binkies because they are here first.
Alright. Which one's Binky's?
Binkies is the two ponies yelling at each other. It's Derpy being yelled at. Maybe Dash. I'm not quite sure. I think it's Dash being yelled at by Bigger Pony.
The shirt makes me think of Quibble Pants because they're dressed in, the explorer's gear.
Don't
Yeah.
do outfits. Yeah, it might be. I can't really tell. I can't remember what Quibble Pants actually looks like very much. I think he has like spiky hair.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they'll provide us some insight onto what's going on.
And this
But-
actually is daring to, but yeah, we'll have to find out.
So, we're gonna get a story time.
Yeah.
So this art is part of their artist training ground that's going on somewhere else that's not here.
Nice.
And they're trying to use references along with real horses as references, which I approve.
Yay.
That's good. We have told people to do that before, so that's great.
It's good.
So
Someone listened. Hey,
We're not being ignored.
what? You're not being what?
We're not being ignored.
Thank you, Allie. Thank you.
It's one of those days.
Yep.
Okay, so I have to flip back and forth between the draw pile and the reference I'm using to draw. So far, I do like the composition of this. One note that I would say though, oh damn it, I forgot I cannot draw on my other screen. My tablet won't let me go that far. Okay, the perspective is given a slight oddity, especially considering that the stallion is, of course, bigger than the mare. So it kind of throws the brain into confusion because it almost looks like he's standing next to her. All you have to do, though, and it's not very hard to fix, is just move her over a little bit this way. Just enough so this bit of hair and maybe the hat cross over just a little bit. And then, since they'll be overlapping, you won't have to worry about that. It will look, you can definitely tell she's in front of him. I don't know if that's going to mess up like the eye direction because she'll be having to look even steeper and it'll kind of be a bit weird, or you could just you could twist this mane out a bit. As long as something is overlapping the other pony, we can tell, yes, she is on top of him. She is in front of him, not the other way around.
Agreed. I would also take her eyeball and just push it slightly more forward. I know ponies basically have eyes stuck on the side of their head, but with the way you have it positioned on other pony in the front, moving it more forward will keep them more similar. I like your wings. They're a bit small, but I mean that's your choice. That's very close to what MLP has it for sizes. Good job on the tail. It's not just pooping out of her.
Yes.
And it is.
And there's overlap.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were just trying to draw the same thing.
And his isn't out to the side. It's overlapped. It's just good job.
It's actually behind him, so that yeah, that's really good. Just awesome, excellent stuff here. Is this his leg at the back there?
Yes.
Yes.
Through the
See-
body.
Yeah,
I
it's
can,
right,
I can
like
kind
that.
of see that. I can kind of see that coming out. It's like it looks slightly far over, but I think it still like works. So I think you're still in like a safe area there. Whoops. I don't know. I can't think of anything else that I think looks weird. Everything else pretty well done, honestly. Only like the snout obviously does go up like quite further than the eye, but in the show they actually do that, so you don't have to change that at all. I usually try to get the snout to go under the eyes if I can, but that's just a stylistic choice since they have the eyes come lower than the nose in the show. That's like the only tiny nitpick I can think of.
So you said I did find it helpful to use along with thumbnailing, and it's rarely something you can do. With this case, a little thumbnailing might have helped to make sure the two bodies are aligned. And how you would have done that is you would have drawn more than just the picture you've cropped in on. So you would have drawn the full ponies, pony, 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 pony. You would have drawn the entire body along with the heads and which direction they're facing. But very stick, very quick. You could have helped nudge it over a bit more during that point. And then you would have gone in with your thumbnail and gone, well, I want to crop chunks, so brr, cropped.
I just want to play face-off music.
I do like the sort of letterboxing anyway, but
yeah. Oh yeah, it's good. It's just a matter of how they're placed in context with the rest of the picture, like for leg placement and body placement, because even the legs look really long unless if Dash is really really short, because her legs would go, da 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 da. I am a leg, na 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 na. Holy leg, and somewhere around here. And his would be like there.
yeah, I see your point. It is definitely important to sort of sketch out the entire thing just to sort of get an idea of the perspective and then like cut it down, as you said. Definitely something to work on doing. Ooh, what's this being drawn down here by the alley claw?
I'm just drawing with boxes. I know whenever I need to, if like a perspective's really getting to me and spheres, like sometimes I just have hard, like I can stare at the spheres and like I know which direction I want them to face, but they still don't give me like a quick angle reference. I just box everything and then put the spheres in the boxes.
No, I completely understand. Boxes work really well for stuff like that.
So if you're ever having like angle difficulties.
Yeah, I mean, even just sort of drawing you can draw like the plane under the character where you just basically do like a perspective square that's kind of like underneath them, like as if they're standing on a rug, just to sort of line up the hooves and body direction. But it also, yeah, of course, it helps to do like the squares and everything. But, I mean, whatever sort of shape floats your boat, as long as you can sort of get that idea. So when I draw humans, like I do like the circle, the sphere, oval shape for the chest, but then I'll do like a triangle cut in, like someone took a slice out of it, and you can sort of like get a much better direction out of that. Even if it's all going to be rubbed out anyway, it just kind of helps to pose everything.
Do you have any more questions? I've got cables wrapped everywhere.
Welcome to my hell. We're just waiting on their reply for Picato. Why
Yep.
does he have to be so slow? Silly Picato. What's making you giggle?
A cute pencil case.
Oh, well then that explains everything.
The horror! The horror!
My eyeballs.
Well, you have a bucket full of them. It's no big deal.
I know, but I liked that one.
The right shade of blue for you?
That's funny.
Ellie.
Art being thrown at our faces.
When
What,
you
who?
connect to the draw pile, do you put a port in, or is it just an IP for you?
Just an IP. I gave Wandering some information.
It was the same information LD gave me.
Oh. Weird, because I connect just fine with that.
Make sure you aren't blocking, like you don't have a third-party firewall system blocking it. Like,
Yeah, I just checked my third-party firewall and it said it should be allowing it.
just shut it down. It'll be good. Like I can't find a way to make it look like the background is in the distance and not right behind them. Oh, how do you make? Yeah, overlapping is the key, along with perspective. So there's actually another picture here that outlines it pretty good for an immediate one, and we'll show you that one real quick. So the picture right beside here, or that we're staring at right now, is by Woois. It's a green horse for all of you who are following along.
I love this one.
So this one shows the layer, or how perspective can aid that. We know trees are generally big things, and we have this pony who is in front of the said tree, and the tree is a little bit smaller than we'd imagined, so we perceive it as being further behind him. And as things go back further, like this hill, it's even smaller than we would normally see while we're up close. So that perspective aids us in that. And just by overlapping things over and over and over again, we can help drive that perspective harder. And placing stuff in the front will do the same thing. Like you'll see people quite often place like bushes up here and that type of thing.
Like I was about to say that, because you've got like the bush in the back, which again is like something that will take up a fair bit of space, but it's like a tiny little part of the picture. And I've used bushes a lot. I'll just shove one right in the foreground, all blurred, and like the leaves are huge because it's just like a small part of the bush, but it's like huge because then it's like, oh, it's closer to us. You know, this is what you immediately see.
Does that make sense to you?
Now we wait for stream delay. We need to like actually make a song about that, so we could just sing that every time.
We'll get flagged.
It'd be our own original song. How would we be flagged though? And then it would just be
anyway.
We got to make it like it's the specific length of like 20 seconds or something, so like, it's the exact length of the delay. So we just sing it, and then it'll be ready for the reply.
Can we bribe Fitzy to do it?
Maybe. So one of our resident musicians. Okay, what did they say? Where did my internet browser go?
All right, thank you. All right, we're moving on to the next one. You with us, Maze Temporal? Temporal? Yes. Not tempura.
Words.
I was just thinking tempura because I was really hungry for something.
Now we're making you hungry
Dang it,
for
Allie.
specific things.
Some
Sushi
tempura vegetables. I don't like sushi, bro. I'm sorry. You can have all the raw food you want. I'm gonna sit over here and cook my things.
Oh my god, I've got to have my shopbot sushi with my MLP streams. So for some reason, it's the link I have. I don't know why.
Avocado sushi. See, I would do vegetable sushi. I would eat that.
There's so most of our sushi places have very little fish on them because fish is expensive.
I believe that.
Y'all need to come out to the West Coast where we are fucking drowning in sushi
Whoa.
places.
Did you watch the swearing?
Where we are enormously drowning.
Good save.
It's a family show.
It's where we are fire trucking in sushi.
There you go. All right. So, bottom left-hand corner of the canvas, you'll find a picture that is just a background. There is no pony or anything on it.
Yes, I was just looking at that one.
This is mazes.
Ooh. Another one of our very own artists.
All of these are very own artists, actually.
Oh.
Because they're all from our subreddit.
I am going to watch the stream and comment from based on there.
One of our Discord artists, then, I mean.
Oh, okay. You submitted as Maze Temporal. Tempora? No, Maze Temporal. I get it. I understand what your comment said. Alright. So they said this is a huge commitment, much more than I was expecting when they first imagined. It has some issues, partly because it's such a new thing for me, partly because the initial plan is huge depth, perspective, issue, shuffled things around, and partly because I was running out of time, and I really had to wing it at the end. No time to ink out nice shapes, it's just color on top of sketch, and no sketch for many parts. The primary experiments in this one were colors, doing backgrounds, natures, something to that's not a pony, and composition. Feel free to point out what you think any major issues are in mine. Words! There we go.
Words are not on our side today.
They'll be there eventually. And if not, there's always water.
Water's delicious. I drink so much every day.
Me too, because otherwise I fall asleep and not too tired to draw.
Alright, so this picture, let's talk about it. It's the Everfree Forest at night. Why is it so bright?
What a dangerous place to be.
At night.
Dun, dun, dun. But really, your picture is very bright, especially for the context that we're given in this. Like, we're given this dark sky up here, and we're given, well, the dark sky up there. We don't see any available moon, but who knows? Maybe the moon's somewhere above the viewer's head. It's always a possibility. But we do see levels of shading going on here, and even a black tree and a black cave thingy. What I would do to this picture is I would drag it back into whatever art program it escaped from. Because that's how art leaves this world. It just escapes from your canvases and it goes back onto DA or something. You're like, no, don't go.
Sure. You're not ready yet.
I would take it into there and throw a darkness layer over it, depending on which program you're using. That might just be a matter of turning down its brightness and contrast. Or there's actual layer attributes on some other drawing programs where it'll allow you to stick a layer over top of everything that'll make it all darker. When that's done, you'll now have the chance to highlight the living crap out of this picture, and it'll be so much fun.
For what I do is I usually use a combination. I use like blue, sort of dusty dark blue colors, and I use a combination of multiply and hue at very low levels, so that like the hue will like change with the colors to make everything bluer, and then like the multiply of course darkens everything, and I just sort of just mess around with the opacity until they're both at a level that I kind of like. But this one, the colors are already quite grayed out and blue, so you're good for that. Just slap a multiply on it, just sort of mess around with the opacity and the color, and you can probably get a really good atmosphere then. And yes, like LD says, then you can go nuts with the highlights, and that's a really fun part.
So what you're gonna do with the highlights is you're gonna go in there and you're just gonna grab the edges that you expect to be
Don't worry about it. Just go with it.
All right.
Keep talking.
All right, that you
10 the
expect
words on your side.
to have available for you. Meaning, if you're supposed to be placing the sun or the moon above the viewer's head, you're going to shine the light off of there. It's only going to take you another 15-20 minutes to grab the bulk of them, because it's not that intensive. You're just grabbing edges and shapes. It doesn't have to be very detailed. You just go in with your eraser and you're like, hey, this edge is going to be grabbed. We're going to highlight this bit and over here, but down here, we're going to have the light pull off on this edge, but we're going to leave this dark over here. None of that. And you're going to follow along onto other edges like the tree up here. We can grab some of its detail. And definitely the top of this weird tunnel thing. You're going to go grab its ridges. You're going to just attack it with a semi-hard brush. It's not going to have perfectly hard edges, but it should have like a feathered edge to it.
Just like a little bit of softness there.
Yeah. And you're just going to keep going at it, and it's going to build up a really, really cool high contrast picture, because during night, everything is high contrast. Let me see. Yeah, I have a picture right here, I swear. High contrast? High contrast. One moment, please. Please stand by as I complete this call.
Why are you calling during the show?
Yes, that is exactly right, Maze. Multiply, dark color, and erase a few parts. And the erasing the few parts is your highlighting, because you already have this base layer of what I would consider highlighted, just because of its color, and that would be it. You could do some modifications to that layer to make it pick up the like white yellow that comes from that moon, but it's really a matter of tinkering at that point if you want to. I think your goal should just be to get down that contrast that's available. Now, someone else want to talk about building up the edges, not like the shading or any of that, but like the shape and edges to all these, the environment going around? Possible improvements that way?
Oh God, I'm in the complete wrong part of the canvas.
Where have you been?
I am having to. I've got my drawing program, draw pile, and then like references I'm trying to use, and then Discord, and I'm like, 2 screens is not enough. Okay, so you've done quite a good job of adding life to this picture. Like, there's lots of stuff going on, but you can still put work in to add more detail. There are a lot of areas where it's just like a single color. Like, you've got the path here. Oh, what's on my screen? So you've got like the path here. This area here is kind of all one color. Then you've got this is all one color, and this, and of course the big area of the pond here. What you can easily do is use textures. Like, I love the hoof prints you got here. Very nice. And you've even got it so they get smaller and disappear as they go into distance, but they're just like, they're still there, just like a really small blob. That's really cool. Like, definitely you've done a good job there. But I would maybe push the front ones to be slightly bigger, because as they're getting closer to the screen, the level of which their size expands will get more intense, because it's really like coming up to where we're sitting, where we're looking, you know. The other thing is you're going to have details in the past, so just like little stones here and there. You can either do just like small details like this, just scattered about, and then your brain basically fills in the rest, or you can experiment, depending on what program you used, you can experiment with actually doing like a texture, and then you can overlay that. For the grass, I do love how you got this, like, I don't know if you used like a brush for this, or if you actually just went and just squiggled it, but that's really nice. You got like a very subtle texture there, but like from the distance, it just looks like your shapes kind of have a jagged edge, and it just kind of, it doesn't look as nice from a distance as it does from up close, is what I'm saying. There are plenty of like grass brushes you can get, which make it a lot easier, because you can sit there and just grass, you know, and that's cool, but like it takes ages, and you can get a brush that can just do whoop and just do the whole grass at once if you're careful enough. give that grass some more weight and life. This is a forest where like it's going to grow unkempt. It's going to have a life of its own. It's going to be wild and going all over the place. So you want that to be like just going crazy. Even if you're just doing strokes like I do, you're still going to get there. But 2 different layers of green as you go down. So you have like, see if I can sort of. So you got the green there, then like maybe a slightly darker green, more like this, whatever. And then like another shade, just like getting slightly darker as you go. I didn't spend much time doing the colors there, but that kind of gives you like a good sort of idea of like how it's moving into distance. And as for the water, I'm not actually as familiar with how to do sort of texturing on water myself, so I can't be of too much use, but just look up like photos of actual water, but also look up like artists, because water is a very hard thing to like actually get the details down. But you'll have other artists that have sort of figured it out already. So you've already got sort of little bits around the pond here. Push those, because I just barely noticed them. Push the details here. Push the details around all the objects, because you can really sort of accentuate that there's water here. There's something flowing and moving. But for the rest of it, you want to have something here. So unless you put more objects and just continue doing this, which could work, you can do that, or you can just try and fill this with some kind of waves. I don't know, or like more little stones with like a current. I don't know. This looks like pretty still water to me. But it's whatever you want to do. Textures, small details like the rocks and stuff here. I don't know if this is sand, but you can do like a noise grain filter and then like do that. Just make these in like separate layers, and then you can like brush them over if you use like a layer mask. So you've got all these different tools at your disposal, so they're all pretty good to experiment with. As for the trees themselves, just like you've got really good lines here, but myself, when I do them, I like to sort of just really get loose and rough with them, and sort of just define like the shape that the tree is flowing in, because I love doing nature backgrounds. If this was a city, I would just not be of any use, but since this is like nature, I'm really good at this stuff because it's so like natural. There's no rhyme or reason. Essentially, you just gotta let it flow through you. So just keep it loose and keep it natural, basically. I don't know if there's anything else I could say, really. Just basically wherever you've got blocks of color, like this bush, you could have a gradient so it goes darker as it goes down. Anything that sort of takes your eye away from here's a solid block where there's just nothing. Like, that's what you want to stay away from. I think that's about all I have.
All right.
You good?
Do you have any more questions, Maze? By the way, those 2 pictures I posted were just as a reference for night and lakes on night.
Quick question, because I had to quickly disconnect to restart my machine. Did anyone talk about just sizing of like the paths, the beach, and the grass in between?
I talked about the sizing of the hoof steps, but not those things. No.
One other thing I'm seeing is that if you look at the size just of a green patch between what looks like sand and the ground, it's the same. It looks like it's the same width as when you get close to the very edge of it, and so it makes it seem like both pieces are in about the same distance, when in reality, this image, it's supposed to be going further away, so it'd be getting smaller.
Yeah, it's a good point. He's definitely sort of just really exaggerate and push those sizes,
Before checking, or Masrick, excuse me, checking in.
Oh, hello.
It's Mass. It's a party today.
What a surprise.
Yeah, sorry I'm late here. We had a building fire, so I was very busy.
I hope everything's okay.
Yeah,
I can imagine busy is an understatement.
It seems like every time something happens, something comes up with me. I've quit just questioning the universe now. It just happens. We had a building fire in one of the other adjacent buildings, so ran over there. I was helping until the fire department got there. So hello. Anyways, I Don't know if anyone jumped on it here, but I don't want to jump on anyone if they're talking yet.
Feel free to go ahead and give some critique if you have anything.
Okay, just doing some catch up. Is this May's temporals? Or temporals?
Yes.
Yep.
All right. Awesome guess. All right, so I don't know if anyone touched on it, so I do apologize if I'm repeating anything. But taking a quick look, just getting everything set up here, the first thing that came to mind is perspective.
Yeah, that's kind of what we've been talking about.
Okay, so you already talked to that? Or?
Which part specifically, though, because it might be something we haven't sort of mentioned yet.
Okay, did you talk to horizon lines and vanishing points yet?
Everything's going crazy on my screen.
My line touched around it, but I didn't go into horizon point and vanishing lines.
Yeah.
So I talked about the scale, the width scale of if you look at the path compared to, or if you look between, just as a quick example, the path and the beach, there's a green patch in between. As an example, the width of it remains the same, and that's partially because if you had a horizon point and vanishing line, you'd actually see it get thinner as it gets closer to the vanishing line or horizon point.
Oh, definitely. I don't need to say much then. Well, I'll leave this in the Picardo chat then. I have a link in a video for you as some resources to help you along and maybe build that up a bit more for yourself and learning that.
Well, thank you.
That's what comes up to me, just those 2 points. And as long as you do some practice with 1, 2, and 3 point perspective drawing, horizon lines, all that, it'll bring a sense of reality as if you're looking at it as a person. You're viewing a scene or an object rather than it being flat. Because that's what it seems to me. And I'm not going to touch on anything because they already talked about it. I don't drill anything into the dirt, but that's just the major thing that came up to me. And I'll leave you with a video as well to take a look at where that still comes from.
Sadly, they cannot go onto YouTube.
Okay, that's good to know. Well, I'll leave it there for you now, so that way you can save it, and when you have the ability to, you can take a look at it.
I don't know. I don't think China's changing their policies anytime soon.
That's a fair point.
Really?
That's a fair point.
That sounds like really intense. Oh my god.
Yeah, I know I've talked to them before, and they've discussed their issues about how they can access many things, so.
I got what you said, but I thought you were going to say you talked to them before, and I thought you said China. I thought you were meaning China. So you talked to
I'm an ambassador from Equestria to China.
Okay, you have to draw that now. Chinese
All right.
how the clock is an ambassador with
So.
stuff.
Sorry, we're going to move on to the next one.
Yes, unless there's any other questions, I think it's time to groove.
Okay. Top left-hand corner, because it's easiest. This is Corin's CZ. Oh, hold it. Mr. Brick
Mr. Brick in the Wall!
Oh, no.
Slide by
Oh, it's more completed. I get it. 1 second. We're doing Mr. Brick in the Walls. Just gotta put it up there. Oh, jeez. Whee! Alright, Mr. Brick and Wall, you got any questions about this one?
Wow, nice. I haven't seen this one yet, so that's cool.
Wait, is Bricks the Celestia or is it the Dash?
It's the Dash.
The Rainbow Dash.
I would like to also remind everyone who is in the chat, we have that Eggy going on. And if you're submitting art to us, you should totally hop into that Eggy and draw up a picture. Because it's needed. For your own
Do
good.
it.
Do not, Fluttershy will cry.
You don't want
You
Fluttershy
don't want
to
to
cry.
make Fluttershy cry. Come on and draw ponies. To make everybody happy.
And then you'll make Fluffy's eye sad. And then Stranger Source and BFC will make you sad. I'm thinking Pulp Fiction now with those two. Make it happen.
So I see what you're going for the cloud effect. I haven't actually seen anyone do wispy fog-like clouds because clouds generally are considered dense in the MLP universe because ponies are able to stand on them. So what you've gone from is like a wispy overlay up here to a dense cloud at the bottom.
Yeah. There's a bit of a sudden change there.
Yeah, if I was to go for the wispy cloudiness, I think I would only do it to a very limited extent and treat it much like snow, which is the normal way I like to treat clouds, because snow is awesome and cold and wispy. And it also like moves around. It's light. It's fluffy. It gets the idea across of what I figure MLP clouds would be closest to, like cotton or snow. That's just me. If you want to do a wispy fog-like feeling, that's great. My suggestion is either give it more, give it a quick, harder change where it goes from, say, where you have the soft wispiness up here to a very dense bit down. But
yeah, I was going to say just cover the hooves. Yeah. So, like, yeah, you can see it gradient, and then, like, the bottom of the hooves are completely hidden in it. Then that would really, like, give the sense that, yeah, this cloud is getting dense, and she's, like, standing in it, / on it. Like, it was, like, a really thick substance kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because, like, something I also consider about thinking about, the reason why it's a little confusing for me, all the brush strokes are the exact same. I see all the exact same widths in the clouds as well as the strokes for the mist. It's all the same texture and it's all touching one another. But if you say look at clouds, because you can see all different types of clouds in the sky, and I know they're not MLP clouds, but you know everything's based on reality. So you can see the big puffy clouds next to like the streaking thin clouds, and you can feel the difference between the two. Right now it just feels like it's all kind of thrown in there to be the same brush stroke, same brush size, same brush texture, just different colors and different opacities. And I think we kind of lose any differential effect because of that.
Agreed.
Clouds, I would say, are quite complicated, but you can find some pretty good tutorials on them, and some brushes that help to get that sort of shape and texture in. Because of course, you can't just like get a cloud shaped brush and just shove it on. Like, it's one of those things that's still going to need like you to do it. But like, I have some brushes that just help to get that sort of the shape and sort of texture of like the side as you're like painting the clouds on. If that makes any sense.
Oh, I'm way ahead of you there. I got some links ready to put in when you're ready. But there's a few I'd recommend here. I'm going to post them in the chat. There's 5 ones I'd recommend you take a look for digital work here, like you're trying to do, to give you different ideas and different types of how artists can take this in their own route. So, excuse me, I'll give you more realistic, I'll give you more cell type, a few other ones. So you can mix match, you can look at how they've done it, try and practice, as well as cloud types. I'd recommend researching those because clouds at different levels with different atmosphere components, with different parts of the day, different everything will change. Now I know MLP doesn't because it's MLP, but if that's something that you want to try or something you want to bring into your clouds to give them more of that realistic feel, you can take those elements from reality and blend them into however you want to take it. And I'll start putting those in the Picardo chat for you here now.
We've had a few instances of like them talking about clouds sort of behaving realistically, like when Rainbow was like trying to thin out some fog so it like float back up again into a cloud or whatever, and stuff like that. I think they're sort of becoming more expressive with their backgrounds and stuff than they used to be.
Yes, with clouds, do not be afraid to be formless almost. Clouds have form, they have a sense of false mass almost, but they're formless, kind of like they're just elements in the air. So there's not really anything containing them except the atmosphere. So you can be formless in a sense with your cloud creation. They don't have to have a sense of like line, stop, and that's it, unless you want to make it like that. So don't be afraid to put some formlessness, some crazy stuff in there, and just try new things. I've got a few more links to put in.
Doing something there, Ellie?
No, I'm just kind of touching the screen.
Do you have any further questions there, Mr. Brickenwall?
They're saying it's hard to differentiate shapes, like the crunch top backleg.
So one thing with shapes that you can do, are you talking about the pony or the clouds? Just asking.
I think they mean the back leg of the pony.
Okay. I'll let you take that one since you have more experience with it.
I'll see if they want to clarify what they mean by crunch top. Because I'm a little confused what they're talking about. Got Strangosaurus down there doing some wicked anatomy.
Nice stuff.
Okay. So just bending the legs. A lot of that is, I'll always say practice and reference. Like Stranger is drawing here, he's breaking them down into basic shapes. Each limb, each portion that doesn't bend. It's really a matter of doing that, breaking it down, using small similar shapes, and seeing like they're all attached to each other. It's like if you were holding a stuffed animal and you could only move its arm, and like you'd see the range its arm could move. But now we have bones, so you can only move at certain joints and stretch at certain joints.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely it can be a tricky thing at the start to like get a hang of. It's how am I supposed to like memorize like this joint can move 30 degrees this way, and like you don't have to be that specific, but just understand like this thing moves this way. The joints are actually quite similar to human joints. You just got to understand like which parts are which, because it's kind of a bit distorted from how our arms and legs are.
Mm-hmm.
But you can still kind of use your arms and legs as a basis to sort of understand.
Just be careful, because there's something I know, a bad habit I'm still trying to work on getting rid of, but it's not quite exactly like a human, because the way our shoulders connect are very, very different than horses. I just highly recommend looking at horse, skeletons, seeing what the bone shapes are, seeing how it connects to the spine.
And you can find some pretty nice guides on MLP structure too, just sort of basically outlining the bone structures.
Mm-hmm. And you don't need to know the science behind it. It's just the references. It's you have to understand what it looks like before you can draw it, and you need to understand how to draw it before you can draw it without a reference. And even if you do, you still should use a reference just in case.
Yeah, references plus.
But yeah. So, really, honestly, the best way to figure out, and you said it was with the color. That's just going to be with more play and practice to figure out how to deal with, hues and the value, saturation, desaturation, all that stuff, playing with how to paint something. Like if you put a picture in black and white to see, just to see its values, to see, despite all these colors going on, how the shadow makes something separate, or how a hard edge is formed when two things are next to each other. What's exactly going in play.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Speaking of references, I'm going to post a Google Doc link in for you to take a look at that. Should help you slow down. If you're reference. Bless you.
Do you have any further questions there, Mr. Brickenwall? If not, we're going to move on to the next piece.
Which one is that? The Celestia?
Likely be the Celestia, yeah. We'll go back to them.
Okie pokey.
When I first saw that, the first thing that came to mind was Bruce Willis.
All right, moving on to the next one. Moving on to it. Once again, this one is by Corin CZ11, something like that. Yeah, CZ11. And it is part of the Artist Training Ground Day 4. Angry enough to break the day. Because it's Daybreaker. Get it? Nah. Alright. Go at it. Seen some oddness with the neck. Like the neck goes like this.
Mm-hmm.
The ends of the fire look okay for the most part. Two different fire shapes. Like, you get some really good fire shape over here, but then this fire shape is
it's more
repetitive and boring compared to what you have over there.
Mm-hmm. Fire's chaotic. It just does what it wants.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The first thing jumping out to me is that it looks like all the outlines are the same width.
They don't focus on line width too much. They do have tapered ends though. At least it's going for that. You do see a slight variation on like ends towards well they go out to a taper. Like a point, I mean. So the neck. How can you avoid that neck? Same thing we've said virtually every second or third time. Do your full undersketch. Do it. If you're to do your undersketch, you would have had moon or sun butt be like, what? And then when you're drawing that out, you would have gone, how the heck does that work? That doesn't make sense because she's got this bulge going on here.
Even if you can't see the thing that you're going to be drawing, draw it anyway, and then just draw the other stuff on top of it, because as long as you know, okay, this makes sense. I mean, even then, sometimes you get a thing, there's a thing called optical illusions, which obviously you're going to have heard of the word before, but what it means in drawing sense is sometimes you're like, okay, I know the neck, as an example, the neck comes down and it goes into the body here, the mane is covering it up here. But I've drawn it in. That's where it goes. It makes sense. You know, I use this example because it's here, and because this is literally something I've brought to be critiqued here, and it's like, oh, the neck doesn't look like it makes sense, and it's like, well, I drew it in as the undersketch. It just isn't visible. But sometimes, even if it doesn't look like a line should be as far as it should, if you add something in just to show that there's like a connection there, your brain kind of fills in the rest. But as a general rule, you can get pretty far just with like making sure that you do the undersketch and work it out, and then you don't have to worry about, oh, does this make sense? Because you've made sure it makes sense.
Agreed. I just really quick, sorry. I just brought up Strangosaurus's drawing of a wonderful leg. Just brought it right up to show that you have it attached more like a human shoulder, which is what, like, it's one of those things that's so easy to get caught up in. I know I do it myself, and I'm gonna break this habit. I swear to Celestia, but
not this Celestia. Don't swear.
Not this one. No.
She'll kill you.
So I like this is just one of those things that can be totally easily fixed if you really get out those references, really pay attention to those references, and use them. They're your friends. Same with the wing. The wing can also be helped with some references. Right now it just it feels broken, like there's no structure, and the feathers don't feel like feathers at all. It feels more like fabric or like a dress that had like slits cut into it. So yeah, just references. They're gonna help you more than
You'll
us
always
talking
need references. Yeah, we can only take you so far.
If you try and do things without references, you're going to have a bad time.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of references, check into the Picardo channel right there. There's 2 references I'd recommend. Living Dead alluded to line arts a while back, and I wanted to put that up especially for that, as well as other things. So definitely, I'm not sure, are they here? Because I feel like I'm putting these up and they're not going to see them because they're not here. So I'm just now thinking about that because
are they in attendance of the stream?
Nope.
He's asking.
No one past the last one is in attendance of the stream.
Yes.
So
okay. So now I feel like
I've just stuck them up on the screen, so hopefully they can pause and take a peek at them.
Thank you.
I will forget to upload them on the YouTube.
Yeah, well, I'm an idiot, so I'll just feel like an idiot while I talk to this. But
well, if you want, you can always pull up our subreddit, our lovely, lovely subreddit. This is for everyone, actually, and you can, go and give critique to these people. If you find something that you think you can add, go ahead, find their posts. We do it by images. Post it on, share your links, share the information. This is how we all learn together.
True that. So definitely pause at those points for those images there. They'll give you a good look at liner and color value and shading from Rattlecat. And I think that will help you tremendously. One thing I will say, I really love what you did on this. So like, this is a fantastic point. I know Ali will probably agree. Your lines that you lined your character with here are not black. So that's awesome to see. You're using different colors. It's not bad that you are not using black. It's not good that you're not using black. It's great to see that you did something different. And you can do a lot of great stuff with alternate colors, especially with trying to convey light sourcing and everything else. So good on you for that. Just work on your line art, your value to it, and everything else you can bring to that. And you can make a powerful ally out of it. Now I'm thinking of references to movies when I said that. But, other than that, I just really want to make Bruce Willis references after seeing this movie. So that's the big thing I have.
I agree.
I have a kind of funny off-topic thing. You know how it's such a common thing to like forget to draw the other ear because it's like the mane and stuff, and I actually just had the opposite. I just realized that I'd drawn 3 ears on this pony.
It's gonna get an earful.
How? I don't... True.
So, is there any other comments for this Celestia piece?
I guess overall, I love the idea that you have here. Just going off on what's great on it, where you do kind of a blending of the two forms. You don't really see that often. So your concept is fantastic. Just work on your execution, continue to improve on that, but your concept, absolutely fantastic. So I definitely would like to see you come back at this piece after completion and try and do this maybe a year or two from now, actually, as you continue to improve. I'd really like to see you come back to this piece a few years later and retry it again. I think you can take what you've learned over the time and just put it on the water.
Redoing, retrying pictures is a very useful technique. Like it will give you a lot of like insight into this is how I did things before. If I can see it, I've improved my ear shapes and snout shapes and whatnot. I can see, I learned about this like leg anatomy. There's all kinds of things you just pick up as you do, and you will realize just how much you've learned as you get to that.
Definitely, and you can prove to yourself how better you are getting, rather than just complaining about it or thinking that you're not going anywhere. Because we all do it. So I know you think that from time to time. So. Do better than you think. You will learn more being positive. And I have gone back and like redone old pictures. I need to do it more. I had some in mind that I need to do, but I will say it's incredible. Like when you go back and you look again at an old piece and you redo it, you'll be astounded with how much, like even like a year later, you'll be astounded with how much you've changed and how much you've learned and grown that you didn't even realize you were doing. It was just gonna be like, oh wow, I really was like my shapes here were that bad, back then. And it's just like, it's not actually that they were bad, it's just that you've now just developed so much, and you will be astounded, and it will push you forward. It will give you motivation to keep going and keep doing stuff. So that's a good idea. But as for this picture, I don't think I have any points for it anyway that haven't been talked about already. I just think it's totally awesome.
Well then, with that, I'll first mention Zamzam, Q Pencil Case, which is a little help from us. If you would like to add that to the canvas.
I am always happy to look at Q Pencil Case's pictures.
Yes, they're just too cute.
They're too much.
It'll just take a minute to resize.
Oh wow, there's a layer that was hidden.
Oh.
And now that Ali Claus said that, so the first thing that came to mind was being an ethereal pony in the vastness of space, painting a galaxy, a living galaxy, a swirl of color. Ali Claus, do it.
Boom. I did it in my head just now.
I'm sure it was beautiful.
It's like the Big Bang, but with art supplies.
Oh my god.
No one saw
That's
that.
incredible. The big art sale.
And that's how I became poor, by buying all the art supplies.
Codex everywhere.
Oh my gosh. Such silly.
Alright, we got Q pencil cases down beneath the forest of mazes. Okay. Q pencil case. How's it going, bud?
Was there anything in particular you needed help with? Also, I just gotta say off the bat, I love that you have the colors of the balloons reflecting off Pinky. Plus plus.
So, I mean, I'm not, like, balloons are not a subject I'm good with or anything like this, so I struggle to say anything. So if anyone has any points, please back me up. But what comes to mind first off is the angle of the balloons, kind of. I love how they are jumbled all together like that, but just remember that the strings or whatever you use to attach the balloons all go to one common source. Unless you have them on different sources, okay, but typically they'll go to one common. I want to say the word thread because I can't think of anything else. So that can be kind of pulled into it because the gas is going to be pulling up. It's not going to be pulling towards
So
one side. It's
cute.
going to be pulling up and out. So you can reflect that back into how it comes back down. And it just depends on how far you want to go. But
Yeah, sometimes balloons will even end up like upside down, just because like the string sort of being pulled into the middle, and they're just being battered by the other balloons and stuff. Just sort of think about like the origin point there going on, I guess. It's totally adorable though. I mean, I've drawn Pinky hanging upside down by balloons on her tail, so we have a similar picture now. Yours is way better than mine is. Oh my god. Like I said, backing up Ali's point, I love the coloured reflections on it. It's so good.
I can understand what you're saying though with the bottom of her hair doesn't have enough colors, but I think you're right when you say that the balloon color cannot get there. It just depends on how much light you want to go through or how much light is around the area or if there's light emanating from the balloons, like fireflies on the inside or something like that, which makes it maybe kind of dark when you think about it. Anyways, I think you're good to say that adding more light to the main is probably not the best bet. I think that's a good way to take it. I don't know what you could do to kind of offset that thought of what you're trying to do, even though that's what you're thinking. But I think you're on the right way, showing that in the tail, but not the main as much. But I do like the pose of the pony there, especially with the hind legs kind of flowing with the gravity, and then the poofiness of the hair as well. I think is a good bet. So I honestly don't have a lot to say. Just make this into a series, I guess.
Yeah, I think I understand wanting to add more color in, but I think you have all the spots covered that would get. I don't want to say realistically hit, but harmoniously hit. It's not just like color everywhere because color, but it's like, yeah, this makes sense how they're reflecting.
I think so. I mean, it just looks really good, honestly. But it's good to see that you're thinking about that stuff anyway. I also love the pose of the body. Like, there's a lot of life to it. It's not just, here, the legs, here, the arms. Everything, like, sort of flows around itself, and it's really good.
I would agree with that. I mean, the one thing I could say is if you're worried about the light and you're looking for ways to kind of bring that down, if you're looking for an excuse to create that, the only thing that comes to mind is maybe doing a nighttime scene of this as well and making the balloons kind of like a neon, like they glow or they emanate a glow of themselves. And then you can carry that down as if it was a light source to the rest of the pony and do a nighttime version of this too for that. Stars in the background or something like there. So then you could do what you're looking for and bringing that into the mane and the rest of the body. But outside of that, with the daytime, I don't think that's possible. Realistically, of course, unless you want to try it just to do it.
Otherwise, I'm super happy to see like how you go forward with this. Absolutely share it with us. Do you want to shove it at our faces?
Yeah, definitely, and then do the others as well. I think you can the flask ponies and all those as well. I think this would be a cute one to do.
All right, on to the next one then.
Let's do it.
I think that's going to be this middle one, which was Woois.
Woo. Yes.
Just a reminder, everyone, that Eggy is still going on. Feel free to hop in. The theme today is just go hog wild. Just do something. Just draw a picture. Draw something. We have like...
just anything goes.
Yeah, we have Fluffy's Eye in the morning here. The tentacle monster.
Wait, what?
We have...
Someone drew me?
Well, now, if it wasn't, it's going to be, I guess.
We have Alley Claw in the most chibi I've ever seen.
Aww.
It is so painfully adorable.
I didn't even see that. Who did that? Who's a sweetheart? What's going on?
This is too much.
It's weird. It's missing the hairband.
I'm wearing it right now. That's why it's missing.
Oh, that makes sense. I'm concerned of what's going to happen with this pony. This is safe for work stream, guys. Anyway, we'll wait.
There's nothing not safe about it. It's just playing Fluffy's Eye.
Yeah. He's gonna snuggle.
I haven't gotten to the Aggie yet because I'm drawing a gift out for someone. But I need to see.
I'm reminded of Odysseus in the Iliad right now with that hello, I'm anything, with I'm nobody with a Cyclops, where he tricks the Cyclops to save himself and his crew from the terrible fate of being eaten. So they hide under the sheep, and he blinds the Cyclops after convincing it that his name is Nobody. As it runs around screaming and attracts the other Cyclops, they ask, who did this? Who did this? Nobody did. And they think nobody did it, and they escape.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Next picture is Woowis's. It is right here in the middle. It's the big green pony. This has completed my first month after starting with drawing again with the best artwork I've made so far. Nicely done.
Clap, 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 clap. Beautiful.
This is their first OC and the main character of a fan fiction, Dandelion the Bard.
All right. So who did this one? Just read it.
And then they proceeded to show a bunch of faces that they made after that. But I want to critique this finished picture because finished picture is fun to look at.
Yay!
All right. Stuff going on here. Holy cow, this feels so MLP style. It's awesome.
All right. So, anyone want to start in particular, or
just looking over what we got going on? If you got parts, just dig in.
Okay, fire in the hole.
Oh God.
So, overall, I think we're all going to say the same thing here. Well done. I think what you have, I feel what you have here is a really great coming back, and you should not take any negativity whatsoever. You've done an absolutely good job in starting again, and you have no excuse. I'm going to tell you up front to yourself right now, whatever you think, you have no excuse to say that you're not going to draw or that you don't do good or anything like that. If you say that, we're gonna find you here and we're gonna hug you forcefully with a chair to the face or something like that. I don't know. Anyways, You get what I'm saying here. It's an awesome job. I think you're doing good, especially coming back here. You can't say this is bad in any way. Okay, so getting on to the stuff now. You take more of an MLP cel-shaded show style to this, and that's good. Okay, there's nothing wrong with doing that or not. But I like how you do your shading with it on top of that here. You show that both in the foreground and the rear. You actually, with that rear right leg, you highlight it in whites, actually the left front one, or right front one as well. And you kind of carry that throughout the pony in general. And I really like seeing that here, how you have the darkening, but you highlight as well, rather than just darkening or just lightening and leaving it at that. Fantastic. I love that you bring both of those in, because it complements the structure. It really shows both the highs and lows. With anything, and it's going to sound strange going to camouflage, but with anything, there's a natural high and low points, multiple of them, in any body and in any anatomy. I mean, when you look at, let's say, face painting for camouflage, it's the first thing that goes to my mind, of course, but what you have is you have the natural highs and lows of the face. So what you do is you alternate the darks and the lights, so that way you can blend them in and mask it into the terrain or mask it into the whatever ground you have, hence the jokes. So that's what you want to do, but you're doing that here in the right way. You're inversing that to show those highlights and those darks. Fantastic job. Do that. Keep doing that. Like that's fantastic. I'm really excited to see that. That being said, the other things here, just maybe look at tightening up your form, and you're going more with the show style of the rear legs. There's nothing wrong with that. So just look at kind of your anatomy if you want to try and push that out a bit more, maybe in your rear legs, kind of show that a bit more. If you want to make that more of a natural or more of the show, either way you can go, it's fine like it is. Just kind of look at seeing where you want to go with that stay point for your hind legs and their anatomy, because if you want to go more realistic or bring more of that horse-like feature in, you can develop those joints further for where the knee is, essentially, and really show that momentum and that motion like you do in the front legs. Like the front legs are fantastic, but you can bring that same sense back into the rear legs and show that rather than just being stiff, because they feel just a bit stiff to me. But there's nothing wrong with that. Like, it comes across great. It's just if you want to continue improving that in more of a realistic sense, you can. Clothing, nothing wrong with that. I think you've done a good job in showing that bandana right there. Allie Claw, I think, can talk to that a bit more, being our resident clothing expert for MLP. And
bandana expert.
Yeah, well, she is.
Solely bandana.
Fair enough. But yeah, I think you come across great with that. So I am looking forward to seeing how you continue that along in your other characters throughout your story. For your backgrounds, I see, well, they're going to talk to the tree, so I'll leave it there. But I see that you're trying to layer things and make it realistic, as in vanishing points, horizon line, all that. You put that sense of composition into your piece, and that's what I really want to talk to. You do that, and that's great. It may be a simple scene, but you show that composition, you show that layout of the landscape, and that's going to be fantastically awesome for you to continue on making your story, because that's going to be vital to making your comic. Like that right there is one of the most important things to making a comic, is your layout, your landscaping, your scenery, how you design the pages. So it's not just in the panes of there, but also in the landscape of the lands that you're creating. Because if you do not show that perspective, if you do not show those lines, if you do not show those surrounding areas and really emphasize those, then all you're going to have is just a flat whatever. And it's not going to convey the story as you desire to. So good job with that. I love the highlighting on the hillsides and the backgrounds. There's just enough to be a little there to really just show it. And that's perfect. You do that well. And if you want to add more into the future, like you're specifying out an area with great detail, you can do that. But here, I mean, simple, it's like fantastic. And simple is best when doing comics until you get to crowd scenes, and you're going to love yourself very much for crowd scenes. So overall, I mean, I could continue on. I think the tops of the trees are great. Your lighting is fantastic. You've done well showing that lighting coming from the sun there on that top right and bringing that into your pony. And then that shadow, I can't really speak to the shadows much because I'm not good with shadowing and talking to that. So I think the others can talk to that if there's anything that they say to improve. But overall, like the biggest thing I'd say to kind of work on that's coming to mind here is
Yes. All these things. Man, I don't got much else to say.
Yeah,
Covered pretty much everything.
Yo. I just sat back and went, yep.
give him a break, all to eat or do whatever. Yes, but
on to the next one.
I'm sorry if I took it all.
Oh, please, no, it's fine.
I did make one note. Hover trees. Your trees are hovering above your bushes. You can see the bushes under the tree, and it's weird.
Yeah, I think we all want to know what that sound is too.
That's Fluffy's ice chair screaming for freedom.
It screams so loud that it screamed through Mass's computer.
Well, I heard that and I thought I heard a stomach growl, so I was starting to say the dark little.
Well, I am peckish, which I've been told is apparently an extremely British thing, so says Chicago.
It is.
He was like, "You're so British."
I guess I'll say one last thing. You have this lovely, lovely light and shadow on the pony, but it's very much lacking on the trees and the bushes and such behind it. So you have this nice, lovely glow in the pony, but the leaves are all kind of one color. You have different colors, but you don't have that same shadowy effect. Because I see some gradients in your horse itself, and just it really pops, and the background kind of falls flat, more 2D behind it.
That's a really good point right there. So carry that over. Ali Paul is exactly right. Carry that over, and you can blow up your scenes to even greater proportions.
Really get that overall pop. Yeah, the next one then.
Yeah, the final thing I'll say on here that I was just thinking about too is, I'm sure you already have, but I'm going to reiterate it again because references. Look at the MLP comics, go through them, look how they're created, look how the scenes are made, look how each of the different components of certain expressions and things was. Look how that is done, because the MLP comics are like the standard for comic making. And then
and they got such good artists as well.
Oh, heck yeah. It's awesome. It's awesome meeting them and getting to talk to them and asking them a lot of questions, too.
Oh, I wish I could. I'd love to meet Andy Price so much.
Hey, I have a drawing he did for me in one of my sketchbooks. So I was
Oh my god, that's awesome.
Yeah, my last convention I was able to go for quite a while ago, PonyCon, just real quick here. I spent a lot of time talking with him, and he was giving me a lot of critiques on drawing. And he actually he said, "Hey, can I draw your OC there?" And I was like, "Yes, I don't mind." And so
oh my god.
He's like, "So what do you want?" It's just like, whatever fits you. Like, I don't like to inhibit artists whenever they do things. So I just said, whatever. And he said, okay, well, hand me your sketchbook. I'm like, I'm sorry? Hand me your sketchbook. Like, okay. And he said, come back in 20 minutes. And I came back because he was talking to other people at the time right there. He had to talk to them. And then he handed me my sketchbook back, and he had this drawing of my vigil in there. And I was very ecstatic. He gave me a bunch of points as well, which I was very happy. But that's what I'm trying to convey to you as well. Some of the points he gave me is, don't be afraid to use references. Don't be afraid to talk to your pieces and understanding how they're composed, and to utilize those comics, because those artists, like, they know their stuff. Like, they know their stuff. And there's a lot of how-to. I mean, they even do a how-to book for their comics. I don't remember the name, but I know they do. I've seen it. So check that out. Like, some of the greatest resources are right there for you to use. And you can also read some awesome stories on top of that, because they're all awesome. Great people, great stories, great everything. And you can take so much into your comic that you're going to write and create from just the ideas that you see there on how to create yourself, and make this completely awesome story that can blow everything out of the water. And then we're all going to sit here and want to read. And that's why you need to be posting this up for progress stuff and allowing us to continue to read. So I better see links. I better know where to go, because I want to read it. And if you don't, like I said, we're going to have problems. I'm going to find you. Because I love creation, and I want to see you create more, especially creating your own world, your own characters, your own story, and everything that people can follow around you. It's almost like you're creating life. As we were talking about Alley Clock creating this art galaxy, which I still want to see, by the way. That's the goal for art itself. Like, that is the goal. You are creating and defining life. You're building it from almost nothing, and you're creating these characters and these scenes and just this beautiful mosaic of a different reality that it's not that you control, but it's that you can follow along as it exists and creates a story in of itself, and then have others enjoy that as well, and get to enjoy the creation there and see those things happen and just really follow that too. And isn't that what it's all about? I mean, in general, whether it's a simple piece or whether it's a complex story, I mean, that's what it's all about. And be proud of that. Have fun with that. Create that. Look into how people do that. Because you're writing your story, and you're writing the next chapters of, well, your life, in a sense, in this story. You're going to be sitting there creating it, and it's going to be amazing. Just be willing to learn, be willing to get out there and do it. Do the work and create. Ask for help, ask for critiques, and use those resources to continue to learn. Nobody ever has all the ideas. It takes a village.
Absolutely.
It takes a village to create one thing. It takes a village to raise a child. It takes a world to create a person. Everyone here is created by so many things out there. It's never just one thing. And so you can learn so much from these different pieces. And I'll tell you from fact, each of those artists that you look up to, each of those artists that you say are amazing, and they've learned from birth, and they were in the womb, they were being programmed by the art gods, and they're secret Illuminati spies. I don't know. Anyways, like, I guarantee you they're going to say the same thing. Absolutely. You can believe me if you want. It doesn't matter. They will say the same thing. Guaranteed. So get out there, keep trying, keep creating, learn, do new things, have fun with it. Don't get down on yourself. Use references. Post the stuff up so we can all see, and I can see, and then I don't complain about it anymore. And I get off my soapbox. But yeah, do that, and things will be fantastic. You'll love what you do, and you'll just enjoy the time. You'll get better. You'll come back and you'll see where you started, and you'll create this entire world that you'll be proud of. And that's what's about.
Yeah, art is amazing because you can just do so much, and once you've accomplished it, like, it's the only thing in life I've ever actually had a sense of accomplishment upon doing something. You know, it's amazing. So it's definitely worth all the effort. Just, you can do it.
All right, we're gonna move on to the next one then.
Rah.
This is gonna be weird. It is Terrace. And I apologize, Terrace, because I'm likely going to link you at the beginning of this entire thing, because I'm going to forget that conversation happened after I scrolled down. But just, the critique will apply to you too, trust. All critique applies. It's all good. So anyway, Terrace, this is their art. It's Artist Training Ground Day 3 Fall Weather. Ow! Fall Weather Friends.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I just smashed my elbow off the desk. It's good.
It's okay. He can't die. He's already dead.
He was so excited, and he was emphasizing how excited he was that he smashed his elbow on the desk, hit his funny bone, exclaimed in just absolute excitement how excited he was.
Oh, look, they're here.
Yes, they are.
Yay!
Yay! We have
Friends.
questions for you, probably. Or I don't have to link you to the video. That's even more important.
Well, I guess I'll ask first if you have any particular questions for us.
Yes, ask us questions. Ask us, or we will ask you.
Allie's about 5'7".
Excuse you, I'm 5'9".
Really?
Yeah.
She's 5'9" and all attitude. All attitude.
Yes, completely.
Are you a little bit shorter
I'm
than
totally attitude when I got a computer screen to hide behind.
Oh. She's going to make sure you booped otherwise.
I hide. Much hide.
So,
We're just waiting to see if they have any questions offhand. In the meantime,
Yay.
feel free to start redlining the ever-living love out of this.
I was about to say the same thing. I'm just trying to figure out how to draw the Yagi. This is not going well.
Fino Dinos diving in, making that beautiful leg anatomy. So beautiful.
That leg
So
applies to other horse, too. Horse,
It's true.
the electric boogaloo. Is it just me, or are the heads really big on these ones? Yeah, they are. They're just a little bit too big. So, if we do the I'm going to use dash because this applies to both horses. Whoa, that's not how you draw a circle. You crazy zombie. Alright, so we have a head circle. This is a standard thing across every horse. They all have circles as heads that slightly turn into ovally shapes. But it's still there.
Not all of them. Not all of them.
None of them have a rectangle.
Actually, there are triangles, and there's a rectangle one off of Viva La Reverie, I think, or that with names. YouTube.
What?
Triangle Pony. Triangle Man. Triangle Man.
OCs don't count.
They count for me.
Anyway, we have your head circle. We're going to use that head circle as the comparison for all other bits of this horse. So we get to go, whoop, one head to one leg. And that should be pretty much the standard. Now, if we take yours and take our
My legs
pencil
are bigger.
and measure and compare, the legs are a little bit short. Just a little bit. You see, that's the length of our leg here. We just want to make it a little bit longer. Just a little bit. As far as the body goes, it's generally about one head long-ish, plus a little bit.
I love the sound effects.
I had to stop and think, and that's the zombie gurgle.
Gurgle.
There's the little bit for the extra. We're gonna do that. There we go. The overlap for the extra. So we have the between 1 1/3 to 1 1/2, depends on how wide you want it, the pony, and sort of movement, whatever's going on with that horse this day. You have that, and then height of the body is about 2/3 of a head, and then you get to add that little bit of a neck on top if you want. That's the general standard MLP sizes. Now, as far as changing up all of those and doing your own style, feel free, but generally everything should morph and change together. So if you decide I want larger heads, the body should change with that. And generally with larger heads, you're going to go for either smaller bodies, because hilariously chibbiness, but they're going to fatten up, or you get to the longer proportions, where they got really long legs, really skinny and long bodies. Those tend to be the standard sort of modifications that are applied to your own style. Your tails and mane look awesome. Keep that stuff up. It's looking good. Your ear shape, wonderful. Your eyes looking pretty good. We can do some modification to AJ's muzzle. RD's is fine. The only problem with AJ's is her entire face got pulled downwards a bit. And this can all be fixed with that head circle that I saw that RD has over here. So with that head circle, we can build off the rest of the face. We'll do a quick one on AJ. Whoops. There we go. And with this, we now know which direction the face is pointing, and we have it split all up nice and happy, and we can draw the muzzle off of this area. So we know where halfway is, and we know that mares' muzzles are slightly under half. And we get something like that for a muzzle. I'm gonna go with the black real quick. Feel free to modify, round out, power sand it, adjust it as needed, but doing the face that way is real help for trying to figure out how it points and how everything sits around that. That's what I got. I see Dino going crazy here with all sorts of green line, rainbow lines.
It's beautiful. I'm always gonna gush over that anatomy he does. I just can't not. It's such lovely form.
He's looking all choked up.
I'm getting emotional. It's so good.
Yeah, I think the big thing is anatomy here on your ponies. So your concept is great. It's just in building the concept into reality with your perspective. Again, going back to that here. Everything that they talked about with circles and drawing, start from that simple circle method and build out from there. The head circle is not going to be too much bigger than the body. So take the rear plot of the pony, and it's going to be about that size, maybe slightly bigger if you want to go bigger. But outside of that, as long as you're not doing kawaii chibi stuff, it should generally stay around that same size. And just look at that perspective. It's going to be a sphere. So take not just circle, but think of them as spheres. Okay, a spherical object.
The 3D shape in there.
And so that when you follow your lines around for the eyes and everything else, it's not just a circle and you're just putting them on. No, it is a sphere. Find out where the center of the sphere is. Find out where the lines will go through the body. Find out where, if you go around the sphere, where those eyes are going to hit. And if you can build all that into it, then that's going to help you define where the shapes are. So if you take, let's say, an orange and you're holding it in your hand, which is not for sphere, but just for example, you put dots all around it. As you move it around, just for example here, those dots and their locations are going to change. It's the same thing as if you take that into a piece here. So think about it like if it was three-dimensional. You may be on a 2D surface, but you're creating a three-dimensional image and object.
Mm-hmm.
So think of it like that. And then continue to build out your anatomy. Again, I always stress on anatomy and layouts and composition and perspective, because those are the core features and featurettes of everything. It is, if you can develop your construction well there with your baseline for everything, then the entire piece will fall into place and be everything that you want it to be, because that's the foundation. You build your foundation well, everything else will be built sturdy and strong. And again, I'll post a link of the compilation for you in just a minute. All right, I'm going to keep that Google Doc going because it's an easy way for everyone to just have references to look back for examples like this in anatomy. And so, take a look at that link in Picardo, and that should give you a few good starts from a lot of the different fan art artists out there on different ways to look at things, different ways to start researching on these concepts. So rather than us just saying, it's us helping to provide you resources to give you a start. And I think that would be a great beginning for you with that link right there. So save that, and you can start with your research. But overall, and if you have any recommendations on how I can improve that link right there, please don't hesitate to let me know, because I want to keep building more onto that. So let me know, please, because the better we can make it, the better I can provide more.
We always love our references, and if we can find a better way of shoving them at people's faces, that'd be great.
Definitely. So don't be afraid to let me know. I'm Tavor and the Picardo as well here because, names. But let me know. We can improve things if we see. So anyways, overall, the other things I'd say is work on your movement and your motion. I've never been able to find it again. I've looked for it forever. So if you know where it is, please put it up there because it ticks me off. There is an image of Applejack that is running. It's like she's running, but then she stopped and she puts her forelegs out as she's stopping, trying to go, moving forward. It's a before picture that someone did and an after picture after they studied movement and momentum. Same image, but it shows motion, it shows movement, it shows anatomy in it. So it's a really good like prior knowing shot and after knowing what to do. And I've never been able to find it again. I keep looking for it. But great thing for me to put up here to show how if you're trying to put momentum into a character, or show like the forces of nature on the character, how they would interact. So what I'm trying to get with that here is your ponies, like I said, the concept is great. It's just continue to work on your execution and showing that movement and momentum, kind of like we talked with the last artist here, which I think was Tarson. I'm not sure. I'm getting mixed up on which is which. But work on that. That will flow into your mane and your tails on how that are interacting with the surrounding area, as well as the motion and momentum of them running. And then that will impact into your perspective as well and your anatomy of the ponies. And it will hit every other piece that you're looking for. And I think that you do that and like you'll be good. Like there's nothing else I'll be able to say. And then I'll have to sit here and be quiet for once and then I'll be shocked. So yeah, otherwise, awesome concept. I love the race scene here, harkening back to to some great times with the seasons. And overall, I think you have a fantastic start. So continue working on that, continue developing, and make sure that you put up a progress shot for when you continue that. I want to see you work more on this. And I want to see.
All right. Any further questions?
Anybody else in chat who wants a critique? Throw it at our faces.
Bueller?
We have an Aggie going on with awesome drawing and fun things. Make sure to check that out. All the cool things that happen. It's free for all day. Have fun.
Look at the... Oh my gosh, it's disappearing. Oh no. Here it comes.
It's coming.
So much cuteness is happening.
And then the thing in the bottom that's appearing.
The rare potato. I'm bringing one to BronyCon, just so y'all know.
Oh my god.
It's the room mascot for my hotel room.
That's good.
You have to.
You know, one of these days, I'm going to see a picture up here of you all at con in dark, cloaked, hooded robes around this like pentagram with sugar or something like that all around, and then ponies right there, and then you see this rarity potato in the center of it, and you're all just bowing down worship, like it's or something like that. I will see this picture, and I'm going to I'm going to laugh as well because I guarantee that would happen.
Did you take notes on what we need to pose as?
That's what you want. Like I said, I can come up with the ideas. I just need you guys to do them.
I'm sorry, stranger. If you come to BronyCon, I'll make like a salt circle you can sleep in, and Rarity won't get you, because no one likes overly salted French fries.
So no, I'm not gonna. That's a bit dark. Never mind. I won't say that joke.
No assaulting?
No, yeah, I was gonna say that she was gonna assault you.
Whoa.
I'll assault you.
Big thunderstorm outside.
Boom.
I heard that. I think I'm gonna hear the rain as well.
That's actually a fan behind me. Sorry.
Okay.
It's 32 degrees Celsius outside right now, and this is a third floor apartment.
Ooh.
It's warm. My AC is off, or also noisy to all everyone. So with that, we haven't got any new art thrown at our faces.
Actually, Carson just put something in chat.
Lies, full of lies. They didn't throw anything there.
Oh, it's there. It's there. I, for one, still want to know who's drawing the jelly bean ponies. I really want to know who's doing those. My first suspect is Q pencil case as always. So that's always.
She was drawing a mouse on my pony's head, but now I'm lining that mouse for her.
Hey, Stranger Source, let's use that normally uploads these onto the Derpy Brew, right? Because Binky is asking about that.
I still want to know who drew my cutie patootie pony.
I know, look at, like, I'm pretty sure CBC drew mine next to yours. So adorable! Just look at the fluff and the little nose freckles, oh my god. So cute.
I think you just killed Fucky's eye.
She did. So it's too adorable.
Wait, Binky, you drew it?
Why is the Raritator just staring at Heartbeat? Just.
Why not? Raritator likes to stare.
Holy cow, Binky.
So cute.
What
So
did
cute.
Binky do?
They drew that.
Yeah, they drew the original, the one for me.
Ah, so cute.
It's so cute. Ah, it's so cute. Thank you. Thank you. You're so cute.
The Raritato and the zombie with a bucket of Wait, I'm on there?
Yeah, you're a zombie.
Yeah, the other side of my one.
Oh, yay, it's a bucket of eyes.
Just two? Dang it!
Q pencil case is just like all over this.
Okay, now I'm gonna see a drawing of Q pencil case. In front of that, it's like a stereotypical black and white striped police like background there, holding up one of those signs that she's being a mug shots about how she's been arrested for being too cute.
And murdering us with adorable pictures.
Yeah, I know it's gonna happen. It'd be an awesome picture too.
All right, we got 2 pictures to do, so let's do these. Torsen, do you have any questions offhand? And Oakenshield, we will do yours right after Torsen's.
Oh wow! Whoa. Okay, Oak. I don't mean to disrespect. I opened this up and I was not prepared, and I'm freaking out. That's awesome. Just staring into your soul. That's awesome.
No.
Okay, back to it. When you can scare zombies, that's a good day.
As parents' pictures don't like me. Na.
Shooby-doo-wop.
Bubble gum and gumdrops. Alright, there's pony pieces all over that horse. I don't know what layer that is on.
Wrong layer, Kronk.
I'd just like to know if something is off in this drawing. Isn't it like on the right angle? Not Angel Bunny? There is no right or wrong angle on this case because there's nothing to base off the angle except for the ground and where the pony legs are. As far as the pony legs are, that's fine. The ground is fluid and dynamic because it's not a perfectly flat surface. So that's also fine. So your angle is right. Things that could be improved. You have a very bubbly style, I want to call it. Your things like your hip are huge. Big butted pony. Yeah, that's what I'm going to go for. She's got a lot of junk inside that trunk.
I'm not going to say anything.
Big Mez, you are beautiful.
Is this like part of your style you're going for, or is this just unintentional? It must be very weird when people watch the YouTube and like, what are they talking to? Why do they keep waiting like 30 seconds?
I'd love to see like
that's why we need a Streamlabs song.
That's why we need to have like the card chat show right next to the video somehow. I'm not sure how that could be done, but I can help that.
There's a plugin for doing all that.
Yay, more work.
Oh, black square appeared on Yagi. Where did this mysterious black square come from? Oh, it's gone. Okay.
It's been from the style. All right, so it's on purpose. In that case, it's fine. Because there's a lot of, like, it's not wrong having a large badonkadonk. It's just, I just wanted to understand if it was what you're aiming for or if it was a mistake.
It's happy accident or no. It's the,
Exactly.
it's just knowing whether it's on purpose or not.
Small wings. For once, I'm going to say, you didn't need to show the second ear. I know, Fluffy's eye's about to murder me here. But in this case, your head is actually what appears to be perfectly profiled, meaning we're getting only the side of it, and you've placed the ear backwards. So unless if her head's turned or she's actually flicking her ear back, it would be fully hidden by this mane, because we can see the just the peak of that pink.
I'm not sure whether it would be like the head turned or like the ear, because the head very well could be sort of turned, but I'm not really sure.
It doesn't suggest that because we can see the inside of her mouth over here, so it suggests that it's actually turned towards us, which would.
I do feel like there's not really much reason for her head to be turned, unless there was something directly she was looking at.
Actually, it's an artistic expression here. It's a Picasso-like expression, trying to bring out more of a sense of abstract form into the pony. So, I mean, beautifully done. Beautiful Picasso rendition. I love the sense of artistic rendition that you're trying to do to convey back.
It's actually a hermit crab with like a kind of cream-colored shell that's in the shade, like sitting on her head.
Yeah, that makes sense.
This is like a pointy shell.
Totally.
I do have a question about the tail. How big were you intending that tail? Because at this point, it's going to drag behind her and like down the street.
That's even bigger than I do it. Huge.
Because I know she has a big tail, but it's like it's not as puffy as you think. It's like long, straight hair, so it's
yeah. It's really fun to play around with Fluttershy's hair being like get that really flowy motion in.
Super
so
drapey.
Fun. Yeah. So it is a very big tail. I mean, it's good, it's cool, but like I don't know, it's depends what you're going for really. But it will definitely like drag behind her as she's walking.
Well, I mean, it would give her like a carpet to carry all of her animals on.
Very true. Oh my god, I have to draw that. Just she's walking along, she's got a super big tail, and she's just walking, and her animals are all sitting and going for a ride on this super poofy tail that has to be drawn.
In your case,
I will collab with Key Pencil Case to do it.
But then wouldn't it be filled with plushies for you?
Well, maybe. They could be plush animals.
Okay.
So one thing I do want to say, that would be interesting.
All right.
But one thing I do want to say with the tail, kind of to continue with that here, is horse anatomy. Look into that with how the tail connects to the body, because it seems like with your tail, it's like almost a plug into the body. I guess is the best way. So it's like you're plugging something into an outlet where it just overtakes everything, and there's no actual like end of the body. So what I would recommend is look to how the tail connects to the spine and follow it through there, because it's going to connect to the dock of the tail and into that area. And it's actually going to be more limited than you realize. And it's still something that I got to deal with all the time. I know that Aliclaw, CPC, and Fluffy's Eye do a good job in developing this for sure. So they can definitely explain it better than I. But look into how your tail flows into your back right there, because it's going to be almost setting on top and connecting right to the edge of the back right there, because it will flip up just with the anatomy of the spine. So follow the spine down. If the spine was to continue, that's how the tail should be. And no, definitely. I understand. It's a hard thing to get. Like I said, it is not easy. It's tough. And again, for me, I'm still working on it. So, but Maze, I think, says it best. The plot plug tail, I'm going to say. Beware of that. So that's kind of where that's what it looks like to me. So follow the spine down. Again, I'll post that link for you in just a minute. The Google Doc, you can look at those references, kind of pull some ideas and do some research from there, as well as just look for like horse tail references or MLP pony, drawing MLP ponytails. Look, like put those keywords in, look at those references. People have done hundreds of them.
Yeah, you will be able to find some references pretty easily if you just search that reference.
Exactly. Do that. And you're going to find a lot of great understanding about learning how to make that look, especially from different angles, because it will change and it will show how your tail will be, and it will help you understand how your pony anatomy will be. Anatomy, I'm always going back to anatomy. I'm the anatomy guy. And then on top of that here, is kind of going into the legs. So like the whole style of the legs and everything is completely up to the individual. And it goes in any way whatsoever. I've seen it in every way, and it looks awesome either way. But the pink outlining, I think, was Alley Claw, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, I got the right person this time. So, okay, anyway, so I think follow those lines, because Alley Claw does a really good job in showing the hoofs, the legs, and really just complementing the body you already have and showing how it can be. And so I think you're trying to overcome. So here's what I'm thinking is why your plot of your pony is so big, besides all the puns and things I can make with that. But Living Dead, you made it already, so I'm going to let him say it. But what you can do is you're trying to overcompensate the legs and the anatomy of your body into the butt and into those knees, like the first set of knees for your pony right there with the hips. You're overcompensating there because you feel that, especially in the sitting portion, that's where the majority of the body is going to be. And that's actually not true. So, like I said, I've seen it all ways. You can do it any way that works. But if you're looking for more of an anatomical way with how it would be correctly positioned with anatomy, then you can draw that out from the back into the hoofs themselves. You can put that mass into the hoofs, put that mass and make it more linear into the rest of the body as it would be. And then that's actually more natural. So both in the show style, but then also realistically with horses themselves. A horse, yes, the horse may be one way where they only will be flat facing. But when sitting and all that, the foot actually has other joints in it, okay? I almost said hawk, but the knees, the legs, the foot, the hoofs, all that, they will have different joints in the body. So you can follow those joints down and how they're angled and positioned and make that work. And I'll have some resources here that I'll put up as well that I think will help you tremendously in understanding how that looks, especially with animations. So overall, I think like if I'm to be critical, like analyze what you're doing here, I think that's where you're stuck on. That's causing the issues. So push that out a bit more forward into your hoofs, and I think that's going to solve a lot of your problems with Living Dead making jokes about it. So across the room, yes, can't say anything back. So other than that, your wings, plenty of ways that we can talk to that. I think what you have for now is good for a start. I would look into anatomy references for wings, especially with the MLP style. Like there's hundreds of different ways people do it. So I think I like Mr. Rabrick's the way he does wings, especially how he just makes them. I think they're beautiful like that. But you can do them in so many different ways and views. I think what you have for now is a great start. But start thinking about joints. As you're thinking about your hooves and all that, start thinking about joints in your wings as well. Because the wings aren't just going to be like they're attached. I know in the show they say magically Pegasi have flight and all that. But the wings actually serve a function. They have appendages in them. They have joints. They have muscle. They have sinew and bone and such to allow them to do what they do and give them that composition they have. So do some research, do some studies into the ponies and how their wings function. And I think that you'll be pleasantly surprised on how you can bring that mass up into the wings and create a beautiful masterpiece there. So overall, outside of those areas, your forehoofs are looking good for where you're at right now. So I'm not gonna critique those right now, because I think for right now where you are with your art ability, I think you're good so far there. So when you continue to work on the other areas, then I'll come up and talk more there. But I think for what you have right now, great start. As for the head, they talk to that. So I mean, overall, look into that same construction, look into everything we talked about. And as for your landscaping, since we haven't talked to that just yet, like I'm liking how you do grass, okay? I like how you bring almost that like the hills are alive theme to this.
The sound of music.
Yeah, exactly.
Da-da-da-da.
Yo, a
Like-
deer, me, Ray, I drop a golden sun. Me, a name, I call. Okay. I had to do
No
it until he said
copyrights.
No.
All right.
but anyway, so look into your landscaping a bit more. Like your grass is great the way it's done, but look into when you alter your tail, when you alter the body, how that will affect the grass as it's being pushed down. So right now, what you have is good for where you've drawn so far, but as you change it up and take in what we're critiquing in our recommendations and suggestions on, and more study that you do, that's going to change everything that you have. So factor in wind, factor in the scenery, factor in any of the surrounding landscape, factoring in the location, because different grasses will have different everything. If you want to even get real specific and down to the nitty gritty, we can say that. But for now, start thinking about your landscape on how that will complement the character. You're good so far, but as you change things up, start to be thinking about that too. So overall, I've been saying overall most, but yeah, nothing to say. Like, for what you have, fantastic start. You're doing a great job. So take the recommendations that we've had, especially with those joints of the back legs and the plot and the tail. If you can just tweak those here from what you have so far, you're going to be in just a better position. You're going to have so much more study understanding behind you with anatomy, and you're just going to be able to just push forward and just blow it out of the water again. So awesome job, and great job with the musical notes too.
Right.
All right, on to the last picture then. Dun, 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 dun. Scary pony. They
Forward
just
ho!
saw your collection of critique. Scary pony.
They say that the pony is scared, not scary.
Yeah, so the funny thing about this is when I opened it up first, when he posted it, I was like, okay, awesome. I want to make sure that we don't forget this. And then I opened up it's like Fluttershy, so it's like, oh, yeah. It's like, whoa, I didn't expect it. But no, it's awesome.
Oh my god.
I love the concept. I love the Fluttershy concept.
I love the sort of swoosh into the face there.
Yeah. So it reminds me of like a Pokemon match. You come across the trainer, it's like, dun, dun, dun.
This pony wants to battle.
Exactly.
I don't know about that, but it definitely looks quite scared. It looks like something's about to fly into them. Probably for a glomp. I mean, who wouldn't hug a pony? Just someone coming in for a hug there. What did we forget?
I'd be scared too if I forgot my pants.
Well, for a pony, it's not as big a deal. You just don't look as fancy as you could be. But for a human, a bit of an issue.
Oh, wait. Did I leave the stove on?
All right. So, issues we see with this particular
So,
resource.
I'm kind of my question kind of has to do with what you're trying to portray. You did say it's a pony scared, but is it scared because they realized they left the oven on, or is someone coming to attack at them, or because like those levels of fear can really determine how a pose could work. Because if someone's coming to attack you, I don't think you'd stand perfectly straight
and
still.
And just look like shocked. You would it's an impulsive reaction you can't control. You will flinch and raise your hooves up in defense.
Mm-hmm. That fight or flight.
It's not so much a matter of freezing like a cat with a car coming at it. But I mean, it's the expression you've got the basis of something really good there. But there is so much more you can do with poses and with expressions. You know, facial language and body language that you can do to really express what you're trying to do here.
Mm-hmm. And just like Maze and Stranger pointing out, your legs, the back legs, the hawk, the little pointy bit. I guess it would help if I draw on it. Okay, there's my marker. Okay, so like I should not use pink on pink. So okay, yes, the hawk here and here, they're on two completely different levels. So that's like an anatomy thing that needs to be worked out. Yes, and it needs to be thicker. So one of the things we can do is our handy dandy box. Boom. And you can see here how Okay, so you're more like being attacked. So yeah, this is one of those instances where body language can play a lot more into depicting that emotion. Because right now it's kind of, I feel shocked. I feel the pony shocked, like, oh crud, I left my oven on, like freaked out kind of panic. Instead of being attacked, where, like Fluffy said earlier, you would flinch, you would move to defend yourself, or go to attack or whatever feeling. But to get more out of your picture, I highly recommend doing a more of a stretched pose, more of a a motion pose instead of standing, because we lose a lot of that feeling if we just do like a standing horse, standing still. That, because body language is just as important as the facial expression. But as for the anatomy of the back legs, yeah, you just got to make sure it's all level when you do it, keeping it on a plane. So like if I draw this box, that's kind of the plane the pony's standing in. And we lose the back leg, the guy, scribble all over it, this guy. That one has fallen off the plane and feels a bit off. So if we're referring to, where's my eraser? If we're referring, erase, to this guy right, oh, went pink again. This one right here.
Darn pink.
Keeps coming back. It's just a matter of, draw what you don't see. This isn't quite perfect. I'm just kind of trying to whip it together.
Yeah. While she's putting that up, Allie's exactly right when she says draw what you don't see. Especially being digital, you have the freedom to do that. Make a new layer, draw what you don't see. That way you can have that perspective. You can always erase it or hide it like you plan to. But seeing it is better than not seeing it. And it will give you that perspective that you've actually made it rather than just trying to guesstimate. So exactly, do that.
And then when it's all said and done, like digital, it's so great. You can erase it.
Or just turn off the layer, delete the layer, whatever. Like this isn't just so much a technique for beginners to learn. This is important. I do this on a regular basis. Figure out what I'm doing. Oh, like this body kind of isn't working because it's covered up by a lot of stuff. I can't really figure out what I'm doing. So make a new layer, sketch out like in a different color. Just sketch out exactly what I'm doing, and lo and behold, boom, I have an idea of how the body's going. So I've put some examples. I don't know, just there's so much you can do to really add life. Every little subtlety from like the eyelids, whether like the top eyelids or lower eyelids, how the eye is stretching, the mouth, and of course how the face stretches and bends to do with how the mouth is moving, and the eyebrows. Everything is like gonna help you add that sort of life, and you can really tell. Okay, I know exactly what's happening in this picture now because I know what this pony is thinking and feeling because I can see it. You can read so much. Like what you have so far, it's good, but like I can't see what's happening to the pony. Just that they're in like utter terror. Like that's all. But like there's no basis to that. I can't feel the context. It's just like they're frozen. Their ears are flopped. Like that's good language. The ears flopped. I like that. But like and like of course you got the shrunken eyes, but and the actual eyes themselves are of course pushed wide open. But like with not really much expression in the mouth, unless we've been talking about no body language. It's really just, it's almost like they had a realization of something that's given a shock, like Ali said, I left the stove on. So just pushing that facial language, for one thing, adds a lot, and then pushing that body language again adds even more, and you're gonna have a really good like piece of emotion put there. I'm gonna see if I can do some doodling at the side for like a pose, maybe.
Yeah, I was just kind of like scribbling some quick things out.
Yeah, that's a good one. I'm gonna sort of go up on the. Let's see what am I doing. Yeah. I haven't got tools figured out on this program yet, so I don't know. Oh yeah, there we go. Oh, not quite.
Yeah, the biggest things I'd say here are I'm a bit confused with what you're trying to convey with your character and their emotion. Now, I know we've all touched on our own ways here, but when I first opened this up, the first thing that came to mind was like Fluttershy staring, and the whole Mongolian or Gregorian chant, monk speak, and all that. So that's what came to mind first, because I didn't understand what you were going with. I was not able to read that. And so you're able to do more with your nonverbals of your character that can create that sense, especially with the mouths. I think are a good example. You're showing that. You can show that in the face, but keep in mind, most of your communication with anything you do, whether it's in real life or whether it's in a piece, comes from the nonverbals. So that's going to be body posture, that's going to be momentum, that's going to be anything of the scene that's happening, that's going to be everything else that's taken into the mind from everything in the image that's going on, not just in the facial expressions. Because you can have what looks like a sad face, but there could be a completely different emotion with it. So that's why it's also important to take those different views with everything you have. I think you've taken that concept, at least in practice, in part, with the tail between the legs. I think you've done a bit of that showing it. So what I would say is continue that thought and bring that out into the rest of the pony and into the rest of their expression and everything else there. And then when I look at this, I'm going to have that sense of understanding, saying, oh, okay, I get it. I'm not going to freak out when I open the piece up because I know what it is. And it will show what you're trying to show. And that's what you want to do. But I like your, hope you're all right there. I like your eyes. I think your eyes come across well. So that's good. Like you show a sense of a contraction. I'd actually say maybe pull them in even more, like pull the irises and the pupils in more, like make them contract even more. I think would be great to show that. Because if this is, like you were saying, an absolute terror, like mind-numbing terror, then that emotion with the eyes, like just coming from real world life here, just saying that with this, like the eyes are going to be contracting even more. It's going to be almost to where you see nothing, and that's an emotion that's very hard to emulate. I get it; it really is hard to do, but it's not hard. You know it when you see it in real life. So just work on trying to contract those pupils and I almost said dilate, but contract them even more, because you can.
Dilate's when they get bigger.
Yeah, I mix up my words of dilate and contract.
I always mix those. But yeah, definitely don't overdo this, making them shrank, but too much. But definitely sort of experiment with different sizes and how it sort of portrays expression.
Great.
But yeah, so, Maze Temporal says brings up a good point. The neck does kind of look a bit too thin. So what we have here, the head is very spherical, and then on the back there's just like a point here, and then the neck just comes down as a tube. Well, then again, actually, hold on, it's a little bit bigger than that because the hair covers up a bit. So we don't actually know. It could be anywhere within this hair, but even so, it's kind of very cylindrical. I mean, it's a good basis. You've not got anything particularly wrong, but you definitely can improve. The easiest thing I would recommend going for next is pushing your cheeks, just to get rid of that overly spherical shape of the head. Because, I mean, we all start with a sphere, but then you want to like push the shape of the face. You got temples, then you got like the side, and you got the cheek. But you don't need to worry too much. For now, just like try and push your cheek shapes, just to like get that sense of like our heads aren't bowling balls. You know, they're gonna have bends. And then when it comes to the chin can be a little bit brought down a little bit, and then the neck is actually going to twist out from the head. It's not just going to like suddenly appear, you know. So that sort of already, as you can see, brings a lot more shape and emphasis to it, if that makes any sense.
You can also emphasize the neck muscles in there now when you do that. So you can emphasize the different muscles and bones and everything else, because when someone's frightened, their body tenses up, and you'll be able to see sometimes veins popping or muscles really tightens, or it really defines the features. Nice, nice. All the food. All the food.
If it's UCPC, there has to be fluff added.
Exactly, all the food. So yeah, no, that's actually a good point right there too. Like the hair will stand up. I mean, when you think of frightened Pegasi, what do you think of? Wings standing up, feathers going everywhere, and fluff, fur, foof, whatever, poofing everywhere. And so you can really show that. I mean, think about it. When you get frightened, you get goosebumps. Your hair stands on end.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking as I was putting the fluff in. Actually, I was like, well, that kind of makes sense.
Exactly. So you can show that in your character, and
So
again,
of course, depends on how comical you want to go versus how realistic. Because you've obviously got something that you're trying to show a very realistic sort of sense. If you're going comical, you could just have the hair, that whole mane, literally just standing completely up. But like, obviously, you're not going for something really silly here. This is a more sort of summer piece of this pony's actually scared. Like, we're not supposed to be laughing here. We're supposed to be feeling her fear. So, but adding that's the point where the subtleties, the tiny details, like Matt said, adding like bits of fur standing up in it, like particularly in the back, I think, make it like a cat, like little bits of fur. That's where it sort of really, instead of the big bold things, the little subtle things, those details are what really add that sense of like, oh, this is like deep and serious.
exactly, and that's the nonverbals that we were alluding to earlier. That's nonverbal communication, and seeing that hair standing on end, you instantly know that character is agitated, if not frightened, and you can bring that sense out into everything. You don't have to do it, but it can help if you want to. And the only other thing I'd say here that comes to mind is you can actually take your ears and pull them slightly back even further. So it looks like they just droop to the side. Now, that's good, like the way you have. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you want to frightened, like absolutely terrified, what you can do is take those ears and pull them back into the head even further. Not pull them down, pull them back. So if this was a three-dimensional sphere again, pull the ears slightly back so you're not seeing as much, but you see kind of a slight depression in where the inner part of the ear, the opening of the ear. I'd love to be able to draw this, but I can't right now. So you can show that in the ears here. They're not just one straight shape. And by pulling them back, you're showing that the characters, like their eyes are dilating. The eyes are pulling themselves closer together. The ears are pulling themselves back even further into the head. Not down into the head, back. You've already done that with the tail. That's why I'm mentioning this. You've done that with the tail. The tail's pulling into the body. The legs are pulling into the body. The body is pulling into itself, tensing up. You can show that even more than you have. So look into that. Look into like reference work on how when horses are frightened, what do they do? Ear positions, things like that. You can show these here in the ponies, and that would bring about, again, even more to your character. But that's all I really got. Otherwise, I really like what you did with the lines right there, emphasizing the glare. I'm just gonna say stare, honestly. And then the background, how you make your pony the prominent and defined feature. Your background's fuzzy. I love that. That is like that's what you need to do right there. That's perfect. Don't change that. Like that's perfect. The stare with the emphasis of the god rays, basically, because that's what I'm just gonna call it. They are god rays. It looks like, at least. You can like that's good. Nothing wrong with that. That's good. It shows the emphasis is on the stare. It shows it on the emotions. It brings the reader or the viewer's attention to this point. And then, in my case, it scares me, freaks me out for a second. So, that's what you want to do. So, fantastic job in there. Nothing I could say. Just continue to work on your character. But overall, great job on your layout.
Yes.
Yay.
All right. That's it for art submitted. If anyone else has any art or questions, please submit now. Otherwise, we'll be coming back next week. There will be a deficit of people, specifically Alley Claw. Some other people might be traveling to BCon that time. We'll see what's happening. The following week, we aren't sure what's going to happen. We're going to have to play that one by ear. We'll all be traveling back from BCon and be like...
I just got back from Galacon. I still came here, even though I'm tired.
We'll see.
You can do it.
I'll be 20, it's like 18 hours or so.
Yeah,
it's a long drive.
Yes.
Zom's road tripping. It should be interesting. I'm just hoping not to get Concred. That's just my goal every year.
Oh, I just realized I didn't get anything. Yay!
Just
I just say I hope you want to get conquered. Now I'm thinking of chaos.
whoa!
Jeez.
That's Storm!
Let's hope LD survives that long.
Yeah, Stranger was a trooper. I don't know if anyone knows. He like traveled 18 hours to get to Galacon by train.
Wow. That's awesome.
No, I'd still like to see pictures of that. I mean, people like that would be a good topic for people to do in the meantime, for like drawing as they're going to a place. They should do a drawing of them going to that place. So, Stranger Source on a looking outside of a train as it's going by. Ali could do sitting in the back of a think of Green Acres, the family in Green Acres as they're driving in the big buggy, and then there's Inky driving. There's Ali Claw with all the plushies right there on the back, just. Yeah, and
Green Acres is the place for me.
exactly. Bang bang or something like that. I could legitimately see that. All the
bang,
plushies,
bang.
all the
my
arts
God.
ones. Ali Claw just sitting up there. Inky like and Ali Claw just singing all the songs. Inky's like, when is this gonna end? And silent.
Chitty chitty bang bang, chitty chitty bang bang, we love you. Well, here we are, chitty chitty bang bang. Sorry.
So this is one of your goals. Is you have to do a drawing of either you going or coming back from the conventions that you go to.
I was kind of doing that anyway. I was doing myself like coming back.
I'm hoping to draw a bunch while I travel.
I plan on bringing a drawing game or two.
Yes!
To
Oh,
together.
yes, please.
Telestrations After Dark is coming.
Oh, I can't wait. Party at your room.
Or whatever.
That sounds so much fun. I wish I could be with you guys. It was really fun hanging out with Chicago, with BSC, with Strange, and Island, and everyone else. But like, it'd be so much awesome to get to see you guys as well. Like, oh my god, I'd love it.
Well, make sure you guys definitely have fun with that, and do get lots of art and all that, because I'll be stuck here doing that as always. So just enjoy it.
Aw.
Aw.
I don't even remember how many years it's been since I last went to a con. I think it's been like 2 years almost.
Yeah, I haven't been to the con since the first time the MLPDS arranged like a meetup.
Oh. So it's been a while for you then, eh?
About I want to say about I guess 2 years now. Maybe.
Ooh.
Maybe one.
You baby yawn. Damn it.
Sleepy sleeper.
You infected me with yawn.
Chitty Chitty Bang Bang's old. That's all I know.
Or the year awesome.
I loved it. Yep, it's over. We're done.
No one's throwing out at us, so feel free to hop into this channel if you aren't already. You'll find the Discord located in our chat here, or not our chat, our description. You'll have the link, follow the steps, read the thing, you'll get in. You'll be fine, trust us. Everyone else has managed to do it except for 4 people. You'll be good.
Just stalk us and you'll find a way.
Definitely. Coming up next is our weekly sacrifice to the pony gods and all that stuff. So we will be handing out robes to the newcomers.
You get your complimentary robe and Raritato at the door.
Exactly. And we'll begin shortly after a slight introduction, so that way you know what's going on. And please, if you have your own gear, please use your own gear here. We like to save on money, so more art supplies.
Oh God.